Assalamu alaikum. Hey, and welcome back to the iLife Academy Coaching Podcast. This is a life coaching podcast for people who want to master their mind, their life, and their business. And in this week's episode number 27, we are focusing on struggle. Why we struggle and why it's essential for success. You don't like to hear that. No one likes to hear that. In fact, the word struggle, we struggle with. So the thing is, it's no surprise as soon as we feel like there's going to be some struggle, we run the other way, because we are naturally inclined towards ease and comfort. So struggle is something that you have to go against yourself in order to process. Like, it's a process, and I say it's a process. It's not something that yes, it's something you experience, but it's not something that happens to you. It's something that you go through. It's a process. So one of the biggest challenges that people have is that they struggle in relationships. And this past weekend, I ran a relationship training program for my coaches, and in the life coaching program, we focus on all areas of life. And obviously, one of the most important areas to focus on is relationships, like your relationship with yourself. I mean, if you mess that one up, like, life becomes very difficult. Your relationship with others, your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like, everything is important. But look, people don't just struggle in relationships. But as much as I'm going to reference relationships in this podcast, like, what I'm going to talk about also is about the struggle to take action, the struggle to realize your dreams, the struggle for the most important things in your life, right? Now, we often or always come back to how we manage our mind, how we manage our life, and by extension, that helps us to manage our relationships, our projects, our achievements, our business, our career. Like, it helps us to manage everything. You see, when the mind is clouded and distracted, like, you've got these distracting thoughts, it can be challenging to focus on what doesn't feel good, because you want to feel good, right? So you run away from what doesn't feel good. And struggle is, it's common. It's one of those common things that we all face. Every human being has to experience it. It's a normal part of life. But one of the reasons we struggle is that we tell ourselves it's not a normal part of life. We tell ourselves it's abnormal and we don't like it, right? And that's the thing. It is a part of the journey. Struggle is a part of the journey. Struggle is a part of the human condition. And I mean, look at the greatest people, the most amazing achievements before us, during us, in our lifetimes. Look at the greatest achievements that we've witnessed. They are all full of struggles. Like, when we look at the hero's story, the underdog, like, everyone loves the underdog. Why? Because the underdog goes through the struggle and comes out on top. Everyone loves that because we all relate to that, because we all go through struggle, and we love to see the other side of struggle, which is success, which is achievement, which is relationships, successful relationships, love, mercy, compassion. All of those things come into it. So, why the desire for no struggle? Why is it that you and I don't want to go through any struggle? And let's be honest, you probably did achieve some good in your life without, major discomfort. You probably have done that. But look at one of the greatest blessings you have. Let's look at any of the greatest blessings you have, and you pick one. Any of the huge blessings in your life that you've had. And I want you just to think about what you experienced in attaining that blessing. What you experienced, what you went through, the process that you went through before you achieved that, before you attained it, before you felt it. What happened? Think about the process you went through. there is no doubt that you experienced some struggle, some discomfort as you went through it. And that's what this really is, you see. Struggle is discomfort. It's having to strive hard and to really exert effort to create some new power or some new growth or some new leverage that you wouldn't otherwise have. Just that tiny bit of growth every day allows you to grow, even though you can't notice the growth, you can't notice the changes. And I know you really don't want to struggle. Like no one does, right? Like people, well, I say no one does, but until you realize the blessing in struggle, no one wants struggle. So what is struggle and why is it the key to success in life? I mean, what a odd thing to say, right? Like struggle being the key to success in life. I mean, who would have said that, right? Like who would have thought that, rather? Now, that question is a really important question that you might already be thinking about, right? And if you're not thinking about it, here you go. It's something really important to think about. And what I would suggest is that maybe it's better to just see it for what it really is, right? Because what is struggle? What is struggle? Like seeing it for what it is, that it is just a process of change. Struggle is just having to go through and get used to changes. The quicker we get used to those changes, the less discomfort we feel. But in order to go through those changes, like there's no doubt that you need to put in some effort. That you sometimes need to put in exponential effort, like a lot of effort. You need to invest your mind, you need to invest your time, you need to invest your strength and energy, you need to invest your wealth. You need to invest you into that struggle. And when you do that, you see like magical things happen. Like some true blessings come out of that struggle. And the more effort you put in right at the beginning, the better that start is for you. I mean, ask yourself, have you ever started something where you really didn't put much effort in right from the beginning? And you're going through it with others, and you're seeing that others are just excelling. They're excelling ahead of you very quickly because they're putting in the effort. They're exerting effort. They're putting in the struggle. Like that's all it is. Struggle is just effort. After a while, you realize that they're way ahead of you, and you start to get demotivated and you drop off, right? Or you don't continue. Like that happens with most projects, like where we start off and then it wanes. The energy just disappears. I mean, I know that feeling. I've done it plenty. So I'm speaking from experience, but I know that with my clients, I know that with generally just the human experience. That is the case. But I only realized that after having experienced it. But here's the thing. I know as I speak about this, I know that you've already experienced this as well. Everyone has. It is common. It's so common that every one of us has experienced this. You see, effort and struggle, putting in that exponential effort right at the beginning determines how well it goes. Whatever it is that you're trying to do, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, whatever process you're going through, it almost determines the outcome. It determines how easy it gets later on. You see, it's a bit like a rocket. To get the rocket off the ground, there is a huge amount of fuel used right at the beginning just to get it off the ground. And once it's off the ground and moving in the air, it requires less fuel. Because once it's in motion, it stays in motion. And it only requires less effort or less fuel to keep it going, less energy. And getting things done in life is exactly the same. Once you're in motion, once your project is in motion, once you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, once you've got started and you've really pushed yourself to a good start, you gain momentum and you just keep going. You just keep growing. And then you come to a place where you just maintain it. You maintain the growth and you maintain it. That's all you have to do. And then when you want to grow exponentially again, you just exert some effort and then you're going faster. You're achieving quicker. It will happen in a way that you don't even see it coming. And you grow exponentially, but you just don't see it as it's happening. And I tell you, I used to get really frustrated when I couldn't see the results instantly. And I'd be working really hard, and I'd work so hard, and I'd get frustrated. And then that voice would come to me telling me that I've done nothing and it's been useless and, it's a big fat failure and, I might as well give up now. What's the point? There's no point to this. And those thoughts, they come to you and they're like niggling thoughts in the back of your mind. So when I used to have that experience, I would stop and sabotage myself. But when I stopped doing that, when I stopped paying attention to those thoughts, and I stopped looking for growth, I stopped analyzing every single growth and outcome every day, then things changed. Instead, I started focusing on the process. You start focusing on the process and what I could be doing now, what I could be doing daily. Focusing on the process, the things that needed to be done, as opposed to the outcome and the results. And guess what? Before long, you start to see growth, massive growth. It's like a seed you plant and you water it daily. Then all of a sudden, you see something tiny appear in the ground. It does not look big. It doesn't even look like it's worth a thing. And you just continue and you continue to water. You continue to water with your effort, your patience, your persistence, continuance. You just continue. And every day, you won't see much. And if you start to do what I did, which is to constantly measure growth, it won't look like much and it'll demotivate you. But if you ignore that, then you won't feel the frustration. And then when you come back to it 6 months later, you will see massive growth. 6 months is no time. It's like 27 weeks. It is no time. It will fly by. And then all of a sudden you're seeing growth. You're seeing something beginning to show its beauty. Give it a year and it'll be like something beautiful to look at. That's how it works. Anything worth having is like this. A relationship, a business, a project, writing a book, creating anything in the world, developing yourself, developing your mind. You will be inclined to self-sabotage when you start to analyze the outcome in the first instance, or after a week, or after a month, or after 3 months. You're looking for results, and when you don't see massive results, you start to self-sabotage because you start to tell yourself that this is not happening. The resistance kicks in, and then you start to make lots of excuses to yourself. That's how the mind works. It's not like you're doing it on purpose. And maybe it's waswas. But whatever it is, it makes no difference. It's not real. What's real is that you're doing the action. So really throw yourself in, put the extra effort in right at the beginning, and then continue that effort. Like, maintain it. Ignore the resistance. Really throw yourself into it deep, and you will see exponential effort and energy and time and money and whatever else it needs that you put in. It will create exponential results. But you've got to go through the process. That process is called struggle, because it's like a resistance that we're having to go up against. It's like running up a hill, but it's actually not a hill. There's lots of places where you can stop and rest and rejuvenate and build up your energy. There's lots of plateaus where you can just walk. There's lots of downhills, but the downhills, you don't want the downhills, because they will take you right back to the bottom of the hill. You don't want the downhills. As easy as they seem, they don't take you to the top. They don't take you to achievement. They don't take you to great results. They don't take you to beautiful relationships. They don't take you to amazing lives and businesses. They take you to the bottom of the hill where you have to start again. So don't take the easy route. The easy route is not the way. Struggle is the way. Struggle is not even real. We call it struggle and we scare ourselves. But all it is effort. Effort and continuation. Persistence, going through it. That's how it works. Anything worth having is like this. A relationship, a business, a project, whatever you want. It's all like this. Throw yourself into it deep, and you will see exponential results. Look, the fact is, if you don't do that, you will really kick yourself afterwards. The time will pass, because 6 months, a year, 2 years is not long. It will pass. 6 months, a year is not long. It will pass quickly, and you will really kick yourself. You will really go through the "how does everyone else do it" syndrome. Like, have you ever said that to yourself? How does everyone else do it? Why does it not go right for me? Like, we've all been there. Let's be honest. We've all been there. How does everyone else do it? How come everyone else got it? What manual did they get that I didn't get? It's the manual of effort and continuation. That's all it is. There's no manual. It's a simple rule. Just put in the effort and take the steps. That's all. Don't fall into the "how does everyone else do it" syndrome. And guess what? You have what you would have forgotten about this podcast. Like, a time period will go by and you will forget. You'll forget that you heard this. You'll forget this stuff. And you'll be wondering, what's happening? What happened? I felt motivated. It's all gone. And distractions will come along to sidetrack you. That always happens. That's life. That's a part of life. If you get sidetracked with any challenge in your life, that's a part of life. But you got to stay on the road. You got to keep going. You got to keep creating. You got to keep putting in the effort, exerting the effort, taking the chances. Like, there's no loss. You can only create results. If you keep going on this road, you will get to the top. There's no other way about it, because you're going in one direction. The direction of struggle, the direction of persistence, the direction of go through the process. That's what it's about. And you don't want to kick yourself. Like, what will happen is that a time period will go by, and then because you signed up to my email list, I'll just send you a reminder, and you'll be like, oh, that's why this is happening. You'll get a reminder and you'll think, oh, that's why this is happening. And then you'll think to yourself, like, I did it to myself, and, this always happens. I always do this. And then you go into a negative lull. And you can avoid all of that. Stay in the game. I'm not saying you can't change and, adapt to the process. But you've got to stay in the game if you want to win the game. You can't win any trophies if you don't stay in the game. That's how it works. Get in the game, folks. I hear this a lot from people. How do I do this? How do I do this? Why can't I seem to get things done? Why does this always happen to me? The answer is simple. Embrace the struggle. Embrace the struggle. It's your friend. It's your best friend. It's the way to go. Don't you remember the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Inna ma'al usri yusra. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Get that. Indeed, certainly, with hardship, there is ease. Ma'a, it means to come with. The two come together. Hardship and ease, they come together. Get that. It's only with hardship that ease will come. I want you to understand this. Ease does not come by itself. I mean, how would you even recognize ease if you hadn't gone through some hardship? How would you even recognize the success if you hadn't gone through the struggle? How would you realize the fruits of your work if you did not put in any effort? That's what it's all about. You can do this. It's absolutely a choice. It's within your power. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us that power. Has given you the power. Are you ready to exert the effort? If you're ready to exert the effort, then this is what you need to do. This is how you manage your mind. This is how you manage your life. This is how you manage your business. Because your mind manages all of it. And you're the one that manages your mind. Are you ready for the change? You decide. Okay, so I'm going to leave you with that. If you want more of this, go to QuranicConnection.tv, sign up to the podcast, sign up to the email list, and I will see you in the next episode. Assalamu alaikum.